Testing 1 2, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2 3. Okay, good evening everybody, this is Pete W here, ready to go for the round 3 of the Delta Pace Racing Division here taking place in Canada this evening. We're going to have a full qualifying, so that's going to be 18, 15 and then 12-minute sections, followed by a 50% race distance here at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit on the outskirts of Montreal, Canada. Now, Canada is actually one of our shortest tracks on the calendar, with just 14 corners and just 4.3 kilometers long, making it the 6th shortest. It's got a good amount of speed with a lot of technical corners. We all know about the last chicane, turns 13 and 14 coming onto the home straight, and how many drivers that's taken in the past. So we will see how the drivers contend with it today. Hopefully we won't be seeing any rain. We will find out shortly what the weather forecast is looking like. Just now waiting for the admins to set up the lobby, and we'll get going in just a minute. So once again, my name is Peter W. I'm an online commentator as well as racer for the F1 2020 game. Please feel free to give my channel a subscribe or a like, and I will be checking comments on the stream throughout. So if anyone has any questions or anything they'd like to say, please feel free to drop a message on the live chat, and I will do my best to respond. So hi Babo, thanks for joining in, mate. Thanks for logging in. Hope you enjoy the streams. Can already see we've got 7 people online, so that's fantastic. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you enjoy this race today, and once we get going with Canada, I will get back to you with some more info. Thank you. So we are now ready to get going with the first qualifying, which will be 18 minutes long, and this will determine who starts in positions 20 through to 16. Just waiting for them to load up now. So qualifying is now underway. Let's get some data up as I see an Alfa Romeo head out onto the track. Be interesting to see how many drivers head out to do an early lap. Obviously in qualifying, I believe also in the race, we will have strict corner cutting stringencies. However, obviously in the race you're only going to get a warning for that with potential penalties. In qualifying, your lap will be invalidated and will not count towards qualifying. So drivers obviously not wanting to go too slow but needing to be guided. I think the main turns we're going to be looking at here where we might see some invalidated lap times are going to be turns 4 and 5, the chicane that we've just seen the Ferrari of Pergi go through, and the last chicane turns 13 and 14 in sector 3. I have a couple of other ones. Track limits here are, in my eyes, really interesting because you will go over the runoff strips, but if you go over the curb your lap's invalidated, and that kind of, it does get to me. So we'll see how the drivers contend with that in this first qualifying session. Okay, see we've got quite a few drivers here on track really close to one another. Hopefully they're going to be able to, they're going to leave each other enough space. As we head down to see, is it Graham? Yep, Graham. We're going to focus on Graham's on PS for his first lap in the Racing Point. And Graham has already invalidated his lap. That could have been from previously. So we're going to put our attentions on Pergi. A 20.3 through sector 1, very respectable there. And coming through to the end of sector 2. How is Pergi going to manage this one? And we have got our first lap of the race set, a 1:11.3 by Furkan. Furkan currently 8th in the championship table with 8 points in the Alfa Romeo. I'm sure he'll be looking to build on that this weekend in the third round of the league. And as I suspected, Pergi runs over the chicane just a little bit too early and invalidates his lap, which would have been a 1:11.4. Would have been good enough for second position, but unfortunately he has invalidated his lap on that last corner. So looking on the track, I'm going to look at, we've got a Red Bull on track in Trosenico. Trosenico is currently 10th in the championship with 4 points as we see him come over the last chicane through to the start line to start his fastest lap. And that's an invalidated lap over turn 5 as suspected. It seems the drivers are struggling with the track limits around turn 4 and 5 and turns 15. So right, let's have a look who is on a fast lap right now. And it looks like Game for Life has retired. Game for Life has retired at the just after the chicane at turn 13 and 14. So Game for Life will be starting at the back of the grid in the McLaren. I'm just having a look for where they are in the league. I think, if I'm not wrong, I think Game for Life may be a last minute stand-in for the previous Pollock who was racing in the McLaren and has left the league today. So Game for Life will be starting at the back of the grid for this 50% race unless we see any disqualifications. We've got Andre here. Andre's doing very well in the practice session earlier. So let's see how he manages his first lap of qualifying in the Haas. Andre currently third in the championship. We've got Noah Ladd and Matt Chandler, who are the top two. Matt Chandler currently on his out lap, and Noah Ladd currently in the pit, having not started his laps, haven't started a flying lap. So let's focus on Andre, see what he's able to set. A 20.1. It's not a purple sector, but that is done. That is a very fast sector to 1. Coming through to turns 8 and 9. Nicely taken as he heads down towards the chicane, going purple in the second sector with a 42.3. See how he does coming down to turns 13 and 14 now. It's only on the official track registry. Some of these turns you would not think are turns. Like, there were 5 turns in this last sector, but you only really notice 3, the chicane and the... As we see Angel coming through, what's this time? Like a 1:11.1, currently good enough for 4th place, but 7 tenths behind our first lap of Ekray Merger in the Red Bull. Ekray currently without any points in the championship. I'm not sure if that's because he's a new recruit or because he raced the first 2 races out of the top 10, but a flying lap there by Ekray. So I'm going to have a look at Matt Chandler. Let's see how he's doing coming through to the end of sector 2. A 42 flat. Good line run the hairpin. Currently 10 minutes left and only 8 drivers have set fastest lap, qualifying laps so far. As we see Matt heading towards and taking the last chicane, heads towards the line, and this is going to be fast. A 1:10.4. That's second position for Matt, who immediately dives to the pit lane. Quite surprised by that move. Obviously not your ideal line to take. If there was a car coming out of the pit lane, he could have potentially corrupted that, but a great lap there by Matt Chandler, moving up into second position, and sure he'll be safe with that time to go into qualifying 2. Right, so who else have we got? I'm looking for Noah Ladd. Where is Noah? Noah's currently on his out lap, and Noah is our championship leader in the Renault, currently on 40 points after 2 rounds. So he's still got quite a bit of his out lap to go, so we'll come back to him. Let's have a look at other drivers, see if we've got anyone out on a lap. Got Brian who's currently running an invalidated lap, so Matt is not setting a lap, and Furkan is on his way into the pit, so we don't currently... So we've got Pilgrim, but it's currently 2 seconds down on his first sector. Really, and we validates his lap. See Grezko in the other Ferrari coming around sector 3, down a long straight towards the final chicane, and heads into the pits, not looking to improve, not looking to set another lap time on these new tyres. So currently 8 minutes to go of the session, and 11 drivers have fastest lap times. At the top we've got Ekray Merger with a 1:10.3. Matt Chandler with just a tenth of a second behind him. Furkan Alpay 2 tenths. It's really close between the top 4 at the moment. This should lead to a very good battle in sector 3, in qualifying 3, sorry. So we'll see how that pans out. We have now got Noah Ladd on a fast lap, so we're going to move over to our championship leader, see how he contends with this first flying lap with 8 minutes to go of the session. A 42.6. A 42.6 coming through to the end of sector 2. See how he does down the last sector. Good speed coming down to the final chicane. Braking and... Oh, I thought that was going to invalidate the lap there, but no, Noel Ladd keeps it on the track within limits and sets a 1:11.5, which puts him into 10th position, 1.2 seconds behind Ekrem Merga. Is that going to be good enough? I'm not sure. Will our championship leader have to go again just to be safe? I think I would, in my opinion, the top 7 are safe. And I think anyone in the 1:11s will need to go out again. So I would say up to 7th is safe. Obviously, we've still got a lot of drivers to come out, and we are starting to see that now. Kieran Barr is on his out lap. We've got JFC, who is running an invalidated lap. I'm presuming either came off at turn 1 or more likely turns 13 and 14. Charles Cinco on his out lap. Noxa is coming into the pits, having invalidated his lap. So we see Lufus Shahid coming with a 1.3 seconds behind Noah Ladd in 11th position. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's going to be good enough at the moment, but we are seeing a lot of drivers really struggling to set fastest, to set competitive times because of the track limits. So, hope you're all enjoying the commentary so far. Once again, my name is P. I'm here helping out the race, helping out the commentary tonight for the Delta Pace Racing League, and please feel free to drop any comments or if there's anything you'd like to see. Once we get a little bit further to qualifying, I think especially with Quali 2, we'll start talking a little bit more about tactics and the difference between obviously the hard and the medium and the soft compounds in this track. We'll play a great deal with a 50% race taking on. So, have we got anyone on track? We've got Kieran Barr currently on track, not improving on his Sector 1 time. See how it does coming through Sector 2, slightly up. He's going to need to make up quite a bit more time to be safe, I think, as we see Kieran drop into the bottom 16. So, bottom 5 even, sorry. So is currently at risk of being eliminated. Brilliant line there through turns 13 and 14. As he comes over the line, it's not going to be much better. 0.2 of a second back there. He's got a lot of work to do to try and get through to Quali 2 here, Kieran Barr, in driving in the Mercedes. So we'll see if he's able to pull it off. It looks like he's going for another fast lap. See how he does. Good line there. Getting... I think he has now abandoned this section. Will do, Luca. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so is Andre currently on a lap? No, he's not. He is currently in the pits. I don't think he's going to be out again. I do think he is going to be safe. So let's see, who have we got out on a lap? We've got Graham on PS. Graham currently on 6 points in the league for the Racing Point, as he invalidates his lap coming through the last corners, the last chicane. Still got 4 drivers who haven't set a lap time. JFC Brito in the McLaren, Noxa in the Alfa Romeo, King Luckman in the Racing Point, and Phone Range in the Renault. Will they be coming out in the next few minutes? We've got JFC Brito on his out lap and Noxa on his fast lap. Let's see what Noxa can put in. As he comes up to turns 7 and 8. Good line there through turn 8 as he heads up towards the long hairpin. Going purple in the second sector, running a 43 flat. Brilliant, thank you very much for that, Barjo. So Phone Range and Luckman have both got qualifying bands, so we'll be starting at the back of the grid. So Noxa now, as he comes, and again invalidates his lap through the last chicane. We've got 2 minutes left of this sector of this session. JFC looking to set a lap time in the McLaren. So the driver's currently at risk here. Graham, Kieran, Lucifer Shahid, Brian and Noella, I would say effectively. Kieran is in the pit, so is Kieran going to be coming back out for another try to get up into quali 2? We will see. As JFC heads down towards the last chicane, which has gotten so many drivers throughout this so far. And yes, he invalidates his lap time. And that would have, had that lap have stood, that would have got him in. That would have made him safe. I think one of the hardest things here is to make sure that you've got the drivers who sorry, let me start again. I think the important thing here is to make sure you just get over and set a lap. It doesn't, we're not racing for pole in quali 1, it's just about setting a lap. And JFC, who set a phenomenally fast lap and is still using up all of his DRS, is running an invalidated lap, because if you invalidate on that last chicane, your next lap is also invalidated. So he's going for it, but to no avail. He is going to be struggling, and I can see Noxer is in the pits with a minute to go, so Noxer won't be setting a lap time, won't have time to. JSC will be able to get around to do one more lap, so let's see if he's able to. Kieran has left the session, so he won't be setting a lap, I think. So really the only driver who is now at risk is, see, I'm not sure for Game of Life because his time is showing weird, but he's currently in 15th. But also Graham on PS is currently at risk, depending on the time that JFC can set. Not quite sure how this will work. So we'll follow again with JFC, see if he's able to keep it together for one last run, as qualifying is going to come to an end. Going purple in the first sector with a 19.7, a brilliant. Let's ride on board with him to see how he handles the chicane. Brilliant line there through the chicane. So what he needs to set, anything under a 1:11.5 will have him safe. Will he be able to take this third chicane now, this last chicane, turns 13 and 14? He has floundered a few times, just going for it too aggressively. I'm not sure about this line, he's very centraled. And takes it easy there, gets over the chicane, and that looks like he will be through to quali 2. A 1:10.6.6, good enough for 5th position. So with qualifying over, we have still got a few drivers on track. Got Andre coming through now to another time. And whereas we go through to the last corner, down the home straight, good enough for 4th position there from Andre. Obviously, Canada is very heavy on tyre wear. Was that lap required? Obviously, you're fighting for survival here, not fighting for pole, so I'm not so sure. We'll see if that does affect his tyre strategy going into qualies 2 and 3 and ultimately the race. But looking at our leaderboard, 6 drivers are out. Game for Life, having retired, will not obviously be able to advance to quali 2. So we have got Bone Range and King Luckman, both who were serving quali bans. Knox are unable to set a flying lap. Kieran Barr and Lucifer Shahid, both in the Mercedes, in 16th and 17th, and Game for Life, who's stepping in for Pollux, having retired, is down in 15th position. I'm guessing there must be some sort of penalty there for Game for Life. Let's have a look. I'm not seeing any, so I'm not sure, but he is shown down in 15th position, probably because he is unable to complete qualifying, and so will start in 15th, even though his time was good enough to be in the top 3 or 4, so a big disappointment there for Game for Life. So going into sector 2, this is the sector that will matter with regards to what tyres you're going to be starting on for the race, so very important to think, okay, what am I going to race with here? Canada being a 36 lap at 50% distance, it's either going to be a 2-stopper if you're using softs, or it is potentially a medium hard compound and 1-stop strategy. The pit lane here at Canada, it's definitely not one of the slowest. It's short and it's quick, so about a 22 to 25 second pit stop here, but the difference in the tyres, I mean, the softs I believe are about a second a lap faster than the mediums, and again the same sort of difference between mediums and hards, but I don't see anybody looking to set on the hard tyres. So this qualifying session will determine who starts in 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th. Time for Life obviously will be starting in 15th because he's unable to complete this session, having retired in session 1. So excuse me, already quite a few drivers on the track. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 drivers currently on track out of the 14, all looking to get an early lap in. A lot of drivers struggling to get a clean lap in, as we noticed in quali 1. So let's see how this goes. So just looking at the championship at the moment, actually still very early on in the days, but our championship leader is Noah Ladd on 40 points in the Renault. Matt Chandler and Andre both tied in second position on 37 points, so this is going to be a very interesting battle for these three as we head through the fast streets of Canada. We got Lucifer, who went out in quali 1, currently 4th in the championship on 27 points. His nearest contestant today is Noxa in the Alfa Romeo. Noxa, I also believe, went out in quali 1, so Noxa and Lucifer both out in quali 1. We've got Berkan Alpay, the Alfa Romeo, who is still in on 8 points. Then Graham Sun, PS, on 6 points. Troll Senkingho, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, in the Red Bull on 4 points. King Luckman and Bone Range, both of them on 2 points, but will be starting at the back of the grid because of their quali bans for this week. And Pergy, who we're on board with now in the Ferrari, in 13th on 1 point. The rest of the drivers yet having to score on points. So let's focus on Pergy. Let's see what he's able to come up with. He has invalidated his lap, so we're going to move on. Gonna have a look at Graham. Let's have a look at Graham. Graham's just at a purple middle sector, running a 42.0 in the Racing Point. Let's see how he does coming down to the final corners. And Graham running the medium tyre. Him and Bajbo both running the medium compound. I think a sensible decision. We'll see how that works out during the race. Setting a 1:11 flat, only 4/10 of a second behind Furkan in the Alfa Romeo. An excellent lap there by Graham to get his car up into second on the medium tyres. Gonna watch. Right, so who shall we watch now? I've got Andre in the pits, we've got Matt Chandler on his out lap, but I'm going to watch Noel Ladd, our championship leader. Let's watch Noel as he comes through sector 3. He's got a lot of traffic ahead of him, especially coming in the home straight, but he shouldn't get hit too badly by this, as we can see a lot of cars crowding around the front, around the pit lane. Comes through no problem, and he's going to set a 1:11.45. Is that going to be fast enough? I'm not sure. Let's see going ahead, but it's still a very respectable time there on the mediums, taking moving ahead of Greco, Brian and Bajbo in in the Haas. So a good solid lap there by Noel. He has turned off his ERS, so he won't be going for another run on this one. So we've now got Ekrem Gur. He was our fastest driver in P1 and running on the soft tyres, so he's just gone purple in the first sector in 19.9. Brilliant first sector there by Ekrem Gur. It looks like early on he might be the man to beat around this track, so let's see. Oh, that was very close there. I wasn't sure if he was going to hold it. So as he comes down to the hairpin, another purple sector of 41.875. So we see him go around the hairpin and now down towards the final chicane. In the 50-meter mark and brakes very competitively there, running right fine through that hairpin, and a 1:10.5 good enough for first place. That's fastest lap of the section for Ekrem Gur, just under a tenth of a second, so that should seem safe. And JFC Brito not struggling this time with setting a fast lap, going a 1:10.7 to take him up to third place in the standings. So a lot of the drivers getting out really early, not wanting to hang about and wanting to get a second, 2, possibly 3 runs in. This is now Purgy's second run, sorry. Having seen him DNF, invalidate his lap from the first run. Let's see how he does on this set of softs. Coming through to the hairpin at the end of sector 2, and we are on 42.6. If my mind serves me correctly, it's about 0.7 of a second down on P1. And then going to switch over to Andre, who is on his outlap in the Haas, having chosen medium tyres. Andre, our second place runner. Matt Chandler up into 4th. And Purgy once again really struggling with turns 13 and 14 and running wide. So where is Andre? So Andre is currently making his way through sector 2, so we've got a little bit of time until he goes in. Let's see if there is anyone else on a flying. But Matt Chandler, he's not going for another lap. He's already 18 seconds down, so he will be pitting, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm going to get to Andre now, who's just coming down the last straight to start his flying lap on the medium tyres. Let's see. Okay, Andre pits. That was a surprise. Obviously, he's got 7 minutes left to set a flying lap. I'm not sure why he didn't try, but he will have his reasons. So let's follow with Trosinko, who goes a 24.9, having invalidated his lap, so he won't be setting a lap. We've got a lot of invalidated laps going here. I think it's going to be interesting during the race to see the penalties stacking up. The corner cutting here is so easy without even thinking about it. Ooh, it looks like we are going to have some penalties stacking up. As I can see that Brian in the Williams going purple in the second sector as he heads down towards the last chicane, turns 13 and 14. See how he pulls the scale. Currently in 10th, so the driver at risk. Brilliant line there through the chicane, coming along the straight now. DRS open and a 1:10.8 good enough for 5th position. Just behind his teammate Matt Chandler. Matt obviously will be starting unless he decides to come back out again on the mediums. Let's see what is JFC now doing. So he's now running on the medium tyres, hoping to improve on the time he's already set on the softs. This is going to be interesting. Obviously the soft tyre is traditionally about a second lap faster around this track, so we'll see if Brito is able to do it. We've now got Andre out on an outlap again on the same set of medium tyres. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Maybe he took some wing damage and decided to pit to get it replaced. I can't be sure about that. But we have got Trosinko. It looks like, yeah, he's on a fast lap. He's going for a lap. A 42.4 as he locks up around the hairpin. And spins it. What a view there that was of Trosinko spinning out of the hairpin at turn 10. So that will be his lap invalidated. If he's not careful, he's going to get in the way of other cars. So we've got, yeah, that's Andre coming now around for his outlap. Trelsinko holding off there. His tyres are going to be cooked, so I can imagine he's going to want to pit for some new tyres, because there's no way he'll be setting a fast lap on those ones. Obviously, when you spin, your tyres are going to be going to shit. And sorry, my language, your tyres are going to be going bad, and you're not going to have as much grip as you would hope previously. So we've got Pergy, who is on his outlap. Let's see now. JFC, where is JFC? Currently half a second up on his personal best on the mediums, coming through the last chicane. Takes that nice and clean as he comes down to the home straight. Is he going to go faster on his tyres? Yes, he does, and he sets a 1:10.3, a provisional pole on the medium tyres. So these will be the tyres that he starts the race on. Obviously taking advantage of the track, warming up, and as more rubber gets put down from the tyre wear, being able to go much faster. So a great lap there by JFC. But is he going to be getting in the way of other drivers? We see the Renault of Noelad coming through. No, Noelad was not on a flying lap, so JFC won't face any reprimand for that. I know if you get in the way of a driver on their flying lap, you can sometimes have your best lap disqualified. So Noelad currently, who else have we got? Right, let's look at the drivers at risk. So we've got Andre coming now through the last chicane. Sorry, I missed that lap, but let's see how he does coming up to the finish line. I think he's going to have to do another lap. He's not safe yet. He is in 9th on the 1:11.3, but with 3 minutes to go, 2 drivers still to come out. Andre is by far not safe. So let's see, is he going to go for another lap on these mediums? I don't think he has any other choice, because I doubt he does have time to get back to the pits and change onto soft, but it's going to leave it very close. So currently 25 thousandths of a second down on his personal best as he comes through sector 1. Coming up to turn 7 and 8. Oh, brilliant hold there to get around the corner, and coming down the straight to the long hairpin. Going purple in the second sector, half a second up on his personal best. Just got to hold it together now for the last few corners. DRS wide open, running very low on fuel, so he's got to make this one count. If he doesn't, he's going to be at risk of going out in quali 2. Nice and easy, yep, brilliant line there through the final chicane as he approaches the finish line. A 1:10.8, moving him up to 6th. That is still close. I mean, we're seeing literally a gap between 4th and 13th of 7 tenths of a second. This is so close. I don't even want to say how people are or are not at risk. So let's have a look. Could see Noelad, where is he doing? So Noel, our championship leader, only good enough for 11th, so our championship leader is going to have to put another lap in as he invalidates himself over turn 1 and spins out of turn 2. And unsure if that was intentional or not, but Noel will be starting from, will not be advancing to quali 3, which is going to be great news, I'm sure, for Matt and Andre, having both, I'm sure, now are going to be safe to get through to quali 3. So let's see, who have we got out? We've got Ryan on 5 lap old softs. This is really going to impact his ability to run hard through the first part of the race. So we'll see, but also he is at risk. He is only 2 tenths ahead of Pergy, Greco and Trelsinko. Let's see, Trelsinko setting a lap of 1:11.8. He's going to have to go again. Pergy is in the pit, so Pergy will be out as well. He won't have time to set another lap. Let's see what Trelsinko is capable of. I think Trelsinko and Greco. We've got Martin 69er just starting a fast lap as well, so we'll tune in with him later. Trelsinko unable to beat his personal best currently, so he's currently a 1/10 of a second down going into turn 6 and 7. Sorry, 7 and 8. Four tenths of a second up, so this will be enough to put Tarasenko safe if he's able to hold it now through the last chicane. We are about to have qualifying ending, so this will be his last chance. And he slowed down. Tarasenko on a hot lap has slowed down during the last chicane, during the last straight, and will be starting from 12th position. I'm not quite sure around the decision for that, but Tarasenko is out. Greco is in the pits. So Martin is safe. He does not need to set this lap unless he desires to start on his set of tyres. I'm not quite sure there what happened with Tarasenko. He must have run out of fuel. Wow. Martin going 5 tenths of a second quicker than JFC and taking provisional pole there, leaving him safe. His teammate Ryan Misanji in 10th, and yet Noel will be starting in 11th position. Our championship leader will not be making it through to quali 3 and will be starting from 11th position, which is going to be interesting to see how he progresses through the field, to see if he can keep up with his championship contenders. So just to recap, we're going to have a very good mixture of tyres here with Graham, Andre, Chandler and Brito, JSC Brito all starting on the mediums, but we have got going out Noah Ladd, Tarasenko, Purgy and Greco. Just about to now go over to start quali 3, which is a 12-minute session here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Hope everyone's enjoying the stream, and to those who are currently online, thank you very much for watching. Please do feel free to subscribe and share the video. Okay guys, I'm going to be right back. I will be back with you in just a moment. Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm back. Yes, I would agree with you, Georgios. It was a very close P2. I'm really looking forward to quali 3 here to see how the drivers do and who is going to be starting in the top 2-3 rows. This is a very fast race with lots of overtaking opportunities. So let's see. We've already got 8 drivers out on the track on their out laps. You can see a few pairings here. We've got Matt and Martin right next to each other. Obviously Martin's going to want to make some space, and we've got McLaren and Brian. There's a decent gap there, but I still would want to fall back a bit if I was Brian in case JFC does make a mistake. So let's see, as we see a bit of a gap forming here. Yeah, so we've got a bit of a gap forming now as we head towards starting lap. Let's now have a look who is where, and we can start to look at. I'm going to focus on Graham. He's the first. Is Graham the first over? No, that would be the. He's the only racing point. So looking at the wrong line. Who's going to be first? I'm guessing it's going to be Furkan, having gone through sector 1 in the 19.6. We've got Andre on his out lap. Yeah, so we're going to focus on Furkan here, who's coming through sector 2. A 36 seconds so far. .41.6, not a bad second sector if I'm honest. As we see the Alpha Tauri of, I'm presuming, Martin 69er running a bit wide around the hairpin. Furkan coming up to the last chicane. Be able to keep it clean. Good line through there. Does tap a bit of the wall, but nothing too abrupt. And goes on a 110 flat. Ryan in the AlphaTauri, not Martin 69er, going 110.2. Some very fast laps by the two guys there. And Bijabo is currently has done the 111.3. You've got Brian coming in at a 111 flat in the Williams. Now let's watch Andre's lap. I did see that there was a McLaren JSC has spun out at turn 1, that looks like, yeah, turn 1-2. So coming through to the end of sector 2, let's see how Andre's going to line up here as Furkan Alpoy takes pole position. No, sorry, he already had it, my apologies. So we've got Andre coming down the final straight. Let's see how he does here. Coming up to the last chicane. Oh, and invalidates his lap when he smacks against the wall coming out of the chicane. And a 110.3, which would have been, if he, I think without that mistake, he would have been second, if not provisional pole, but he will need to go again. Wondering if there is any damage on that front wing of his. Let's have a look. Trying to get a decent view there. He may have to pit for a new wing. So what is JFC doing? JFC is currently just going around. Is he going to go for a fast lap? I don't think so. We've got a Williams coming up. That's going to be Chandler, who's heading into the pits. What is Brito going to do? I'm not quite sure what he's doing here, but he's risking getting disqualified for dangerous driving here by... He's literally parking himself up on the track. That was... And he goes and invalidates his lap by cutting the chicane. I'm not quite sure how that was possible at his speed, but he's running a very fine line here with possible disqualification and track limits. So his lap's been invalidated for this lap. We've got Andre coming through. Is he going to be going into the pits, or is he going for another fine lap? Yeah, he's coming into the pits. Just looking at his wing, I don't see any damage, but we'll know sooner rather than later when he comes out. So we've got Martin 69er on an out lap. Having already changed onto a second set of tyres, I imagine he might be looking to go for 3. Nearly brushing walls of the wall there. As he comes through to start his flying lap, and I'm presuming he has cut the chicane and his next lap is going to be invalidated. Yes, so our driver's really struggling here with track limits. It's going to make for an interesting sector. So we've got JFC out on a flying lap as he heads into the pits. Okay, so let's have a look at our lineup at the moment. We've got Furkan Alpine, the Alfa Romeo in pole, Ryan Mistangji in the AlphaTauri in second. That's a good showing for the AlphaTauris, both getting into quali 3. Currently at the bottom of the constructors, having yet to score a point in the opening 2 rounds. Our current championship leaders are the Haas team, with Bijabo and Andre. Andre having the mass of the points there with 37, but Bijabo helping up with 10 points. Sorry, no, Bijabo reserving for Gal 5504, who is unable to race today. So if you're able to watch Gal, hope you are. And yeah, Bijabo is definitely doing a good job substituting for you with a current 7th place, keeping you guys hopefully in contention at the top of the Constructors' Championship, with the Renault team on 42 points. Noah Ladd counting 40 of those, and Bone Range, but neither of whom have made it through to quali 3. So we'll see how Renault team are able to progress up the field. And then Williams, Matt Chandler having scored all 37 of their points. I'm sure Brian currently in 6th, having set a 111.3 will be looking to get some points on the board for himself. So we've got 4 minutes left of this qualifying session We've got Kremega, who's on a line lap, but it has been invalidated. So we're going to watch Ryan looking to get a few extra attempts to challenge for provisional pole here at the Canadian Grand Prix. So coming through sector 2. And coming up to the last sector, a 102, not better in his fastest lap, still on a 110.229. Now struggling with traffic, Ryan, so will he be able to get another lap in? Let's have a look who else is out. We've got Andre coming through sector 2, great line there through turn 7 and 8. So we head up towards the hairpin and going purple in the second sector of 41.8, locking up into the hairpin, but a great line coming out of it. This could be a great lap here. Let's see how he does. And brilliant line there through the final chicane, coming down towards the final, towards the start finish line. 110.34, good enough currently for third place with 2 minutes to go. Plenty of time to get another flying lap in if desired. We now got M Chandler out on a fresh set of softs, starting his flying lap. Coming through to the end of sector 2 now. Let's see how Matt is able to contend with his currently 4 attempts up. This could be good enough for provisional pole. Let's see how Matt is able to negotiate the last sector. The final chicane. Brilliant line through there. This looks like it could be something special for Matt. Is this going to be good enough for pole position? A 109.866, and yes, a half a second improvement puts Matt Chandler in to first place here, provisional pole at the Canadian Grand Prix. So our next potential driver doesn't look like Andre is going for another fast lap. No, he's not, so Andre's done. We've got Eck will not have time to set another fastest lap. We've got JFC not looking to complete another lap. Brian is in the pits. I think Martin coming over the finish line, coming to the finish line now. How's he going to fare? A 110.1 third position there for the AlphaTauri. Have we got any other drivers setting another lap? No. I think that is everyone. That is everyone. So we have our grid for the Canadian Grand Prix here of the Delta Pace Racing League, and Matt Chandler in the Williams will be starting in pole position. Ken Alpine will be starting in second in the Alfa Romeo. We've got a second grid lockout for the AlphaTauris in Martin 69er leading Ryan Misangri. Andre, our admin and third place in the championship, will be starting in 5th. Ekrem Yuga 6th. JFC Brito in the McLaren 7th, Graham Sun in 8th, Brian in the Williams in 9th, and Bijabo in the Haas in 10th position. So those are our final times here at the Canadian Grand Prix for the qualifying here of round 3 of the Delta Pace Racing League. We'll soon be getting going. We will soon be getting going with the race, which is a 50%, 36 laps if I'm not wrong, circuit. So we should shortly be starting that. Just waiting now for the drivers to either retire or declare that they've retired from the session. We should be going back to the main screen shortly, where we'll confirm the results of Quali 3. So as we once again, Matt Chandler, our second place in the championship, joint with Andre. Matt Chandler starting in first, Andre in fifth. We've got Furkan Alpine in second, Martin and Ryan in the AlphaTauris starting third and fourth, Ekram in the Red Bull in sixth, JFC Brito seventh, Grahamson eighth, Brian in the Williams ninth, and Bijabo in 10th in the Haas. I remember we have 4 drivers from this top 10 starting on the medium compound, so this is going to make for an very interesting Canadian Grand Prix, and I also think it's going to be one where we're going to see a lot of penalties. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed the qualifying, and we will soon be starting with our 50% race here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Drivers will just be locking in their pit strategies now, deciding between 1-2 stoppers and how much fuel they're going to be carrying. Never really sure about how I feel with regards to overloading of fuel. I don't try to underfuel, but I tend to go around about what is the recommended stat and just monitor my usage. So I know some drivers like to load heavy and run rich, but obviously the heavier you are, the more you have to adjust for braking, and the slower your car ultimately is. These cars are weighing in over 600 kilos, so we are looking at a lot of weight. So the drivers will soon be getting going. I'm unsure if we have a formation lap with this league, my apologies, so we'll just wait and see. We'll know very shortly. So yeah, we have got a formation lap. The drivers will be warming up their tyres, so let's get some stats up. Gonna focus on tyre strategies now. Interesting, we've got a lot of drivers having chose to start on the softs now. Obviously they are a lot faster, I think about a second a lap faster, but I do think they're going to have to facilitate a 2-stop strategy, whereas the mediums you could potentially run to 1 lap. It is a 35 lap race, not 36, so my apologies for that. So we can see we've already 3 drivers have been disqualified for collisions, those being Bijabo, Noelad and Greco. So they'll be starting, their places won't be affected, but they will be starting on cold tyres and not having as much grip coming into the first corners, which could prove problematic. Troshenko has also been disqualified from the session. We've got Martin really starting to get ahead, building up quite a big gap. Obviously the top drivers will be sitting on, wow, I'm guessing there's been quite a collision there, because we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers disqualified there. So we've got a lot of drivers now sitting on the grid, and now there's going to be a lot of cramming up, so the drivers that are warming their tyres up won't be sitting on the grid for too long. Because see, we've got Phone Range who's coming around, just coming to the end of sector 2. He's got a lot of catching up to do, but obviously that's not on him. He gets there when he gets there, and these drivers have to manage where the other drivers are from the front. So we've got Martin Chandler now coming in to take his spot on the formation now. You see here, so it's recommended a 2-stop strategy anyway. The soft tyres only lasting about 8 laps, so it looks like it's going to be a two-stop strategy race, irregardless, saying we won't be able to get a medium hard compound all the way to the finish. It's surprising me, but we'll see what the drivers choose. How will they manage their tyres as well? Braking, if you're braking heavily, spinning, start getting spots on your tyres are going to last less. So drivers are now lining up, and we will soon be going here with the Canadian Grand Prix for round 3 of Division 2 of the Delta Pace Racing Championship. Just waiting for the lights to go out now. Get a good view here from Furkan. Ready to go, 5 lights, and we are racing here at the Canadian Grand Prix. Got a good start there from Martin69 as he goes up the inside of Furkan, taking second position. Furkan running a bit wide there, and Andre has spun out of turn 1. Andre down, and we've got Ryan. Ryan has really taken a batter in there. He's already down from 4th to 10th. Let's see, how are we looking? And we've got Brian who is in the barrier at turn 4. And yep, as I suspected, we have got a full-blown safety car. So wow, that was interesting. Let's have a look at the position changes pre-that. So our big losers are Ryan down from 4th to 17th, and Brian down from 9th to 20th. Game for Life is just reconnecting in his McLaren. I'm guessing he had connectivity issues. He's one of our big winners, up 6 places, as is Pergy, up from 13th to 7th, and King Luckman already has passed half the field, up 9 places from 19th to 10th. Brilliant driving there by King Luckman to avoid all of the carnage that was going on ahead of him, having started from the back. So we've got, how's this looking now? We've got Martin Chandler in first, coming off lap 1. Martin 69 getting past Furkan at the first corner, as we saw a brilliant move down the inside there, taking second in the AlphaTauri. Furkan has dropped from 3rd to 2nd to 3rd. We've got JFC Brito on the medium compounds, if I remember. Yeah, I do believe he's on the medium compounds. Yeah, Brito on the medium compounds, up 3 places. Pergy, is he on the, I believe Pergy is also on the mediums. Yep, Pergy on the mediums, up 7 places. Game for Life in 7th, up 8 places. King Luckman has moved up to 8th. I'm guessing Kieran has had an issue there, because no, I think actually Graham has dropped with a penalty, so there must have been a collision there. Maybe has he got wing damage? His wing looks okay, so no damage. Maybe he's spun out, but Graham has dropped to 15th as well. Phone range is in 2nd. Did anyone pit on that lap? Let's have a look. So that would explain it then. We've had several drivers already pitting onto brand new tyres. What tyres have they chosen? Let's have a look. So all of the drivers that have pitted besides, so Andre has pitted onto the softs. We've got the rest of the drivers have pitted onto the mediums. Graham's son has chosen to go into the harder compound, so let's see how that works out for him, how long he can make those tyres last and potentially keep this as a 2-stop strategy. Obviously I think any 2-stop strategies, if you've pitted now, have gone out the window. I think Andre is going to be forced to pit at least 2 or 3 times, as we see Lucifer Shahid heading into the pits. Currently on lap 3 of 35 here at Montreal. I imagine the safety car will be coming in this lap. So we got Lucifer getting back onto the back of the drivers that have pitted, switching onto the medium compound tyre. Foam range really struggling to catch the gap up to the pack, and we will soon be going into safety car going in this lap. Seeing Matt Chandler over there running a little bit wide. I think sure that was intentional just to get off the back of the safety car, whose lights I imagine is going to be turning off now. And we'll get a notification from race control that the safety car is in this lap. So now Matt Chandler becomes a de facto safety car. How's he going to play this? He's already got a second gap over Martin 69er, but he does have to pick up. Obviously, you can't overtake the safety car, so that will lead to one thing only, and that is a disqualification. So, going to ride on board with Martin. Let's see what happens here. Right alongside Martin, right alongside Matt, waiting for him to pounce. And oh, I thought he was going there. It did look like Matt was about to go there. Oh, and Game for Life smashes up the back of Martin. That's what it looked like anyway. And we can see Matt has dropped the bomb. Matt has dropped it. Already a 2-second gap over Martin there. Wow, and what happened now? All I saw on board with Martin was a smash up the back. Thank God this isn't like the older Formula 1 games from back in the day where you could lose your rear wing, otherwise that would have happened. So we are now back racing here, and a big gap there. Not many, I think that throw by Gamer for Life really screwed everyone, like stopped them from paying attention. I know it did me. So Furkan now 2.7 seconds behind Martin. Let's see, as Martin loses it out of turn 7, he's going to have to pit for a new wing and be careful of the other drivers as they come through. So, Martin now dropping. Oh, that's ambitious down the inside of JFC. I'm wondering if Game for Life does have any wing damage. Can't see from his car, so let's have a look back. Sorry, just trying to look back. As we can see, JFC's got his teammate right on his rear wing. And once again, Game for Life collided with drivers. Now Martin already 4 seconds out in front from Furkan Alpine. Furkan racing really well here, currently on 8 points in the Alfa Romeo, looking set to pick up about 18 points here. So let's see how this goes. We've got a few drivers in the pits, King Luckman and Martin, no surprise, as well as Purgy, he is in the pits. Changing it onto the softer compound tyres again. So we've got our first, what I've seen, 3 second for time penalty for cutting corners. Let's have a look at the penalty situation here. We've got 2 5-second penalties for Ekrem and M Chandler, and Grahamson 8 seconds of penalties thus far. I'm presuming involved in a collision. So a good battle here shaping up for third to second position between JFC and Furkan. Let's watch as they go down towards the last chicane. I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move now. DRS will be kicking in next lap. So let's see if he's able to keep within DRS contact as Game for Life heads towards the pits. I'm guessing there is wing damage from when he collided with his teammate the lap before along the last chicane. We're seeing quite a big gap building here. We've had a bit of a Kieran Barr train here as we see Andre up the inside of Kieran. Yep, Andre up the inside of Kieran, taking 5th position there. Good move there by Andre, nice and clean. Let's see how the rest of the drivers are able to cope. Will they be able to get past Kieran? Kieran still with a healthy amount of DRS left, and if I remember correctly, Kieran starting in going out in Q1, yeah, already up 10 positions from his original starting position of 17th place, up to 7th. So great driving there by Kieran to get in contention for a points finish. Would be his first of the season, if I'm his first of the season. So let's see how he does throughout the rest of the race. Still got Andre is the lead, is basically the leader of the drivers who have pitted. However, he has pitted onto softs. These will not, I don't see these going much further than say lap 15, which may make a hard transition possible. I guess we'll see. But with Sinclair here, 8 seconds to Ekrem Yuga, so we'll see how he's able to do with that, if he's able to catch that gap up. Like a yellow flag in sector 3. I see a Renault, looks like phone range. Was going very slow there through the last chicane, so can't be sure if they're just looking at his car to see if he have any wing damage. It doesn't appear so. Game for Life, having changed onto fresh mediums, just sets the fastest lap of the race. With a 1:10 flat. Wow, already 3 seconds faster than the drivers in first. That's qualifying pace. I'm thinking there was no corner cutting there. That is incredible. So brilliant driving there by Game for Life. 3 seconds up already. Out of defending there from King Luckman, who takes 16th position back. Starting to see the penalties rack up. Grandson already on 11 penalties. Going to have to start taking it easy. And out of BRS. Defending hard against our championship leader, Noah Ladd. And Noah Ladd making that move stick as Graham Pitt takes to the pits. Still Kieran doing brilliantly holding up. This train of about 7 cars behind him. Let's have a look at the interval. A lot of cars here behind Kieran, as we see Ryan going around the outside of Kieran into turn 2. Saw Williams there. Brian looked like he'd run wide out of turn 1, going onto the grass to get through turns 2 and 3. So he's now down to 12. Ekrem, he was in 5th position a minute ago. Either has pitted or, let's have a look, is he on fresh tyres? Not pitted yet. Must have made a mistake. He's now down to 11th position, previously in 5th. So let's have a look here. What are we looking at? The penalty's really starting to rack up here, so keep focused on the tyre selection right now. No one is running at hard tyres, so definitely going to see some. I remember there was one driver who started on this last, and so I'm presuming it's a double. Who's had 2 pit stops? That would be Graham on PS. Yeah, so he was on the hards and has now changed onto the mediums. Must have had a problem with his car. As JSD really getting a good line there through turn 4 and down to the end of sector 1. And we have a safety car. Phone Range and Trollsenko are out. Let's see if we can see what's going on here. Happened here. Can't see the collision, but it does look like they're pit stop retirements. Maybe it was Phone Range. I can't be sure. But anyway, we do have our second safety car of the race. We got Greco coming in for a tyre change onto the mediums. I think I might have opted for the hards there, but see how he's able to progress with that. Still got the penalties racking up. Matt Chandler now coming in. There's already a lap between first and last, so we're definitely seeing a gap here forming. Matt serving his 5-second penalty, as well as getting a tyre change. No wing change required. Switching onto the medium compound again, so looking to do medium, soft, I'm going to presume, and looking to make these tyres last probably through to about lap 27, 28, which will be more than doable. So Matt's still leading the Grand Prix, even with safety car. Ryan up to 3rd. Let's have a look at the pit stop situation. As we see Ryan really laying off of the accelerator there, full on stopping. I'm guessing he was over the delta, so he had to slow down on his penalty. So everyone has pitted. Got a few drivers who have pitted a couple of times, those being Noah Ladd, our championship leader, Lucifer Shahid, Graham and Brian, as well as Pergy down in 16th. Not the best race for Pergy. Andre has also pitted. What is Andre now running? The medium tyres. And if the message I've just seen on the chat is Seb Bauer saying hello. Hi Seb. Thanks for joining into my stream, mate. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. We're currently on our second safety car here for the Canadian Grand Prix of the Delta Pace Racing Round 3 Division 2 League. So down to 17 drivers. Kieran Barr has DNF'd as well, presuming he must have had a problem with the car. Unfortunate for him, he was doing so well holding up the drivers earlier on. There was a bit of a I was calling it a Kieran Barr train, but he was doing brilliant. Unfortunately, he has now retired from the race. So we're down to 17 runners. We've got Pergy and Noxa on the hard compound tyres. We've got Bajaba and Ryan currently on 9-lap-old mediums. I'm not sure I would have stayed out on them. Those tyres are going to start to feel some wear shortly. So let's see how they're able to do off the restart. But currently sitting in 5th and 3rd positions very respectably. Obviously due to not pitting, they did gain quite a few positions. I think under a safety car, a pit stop will lose you about 15 seconds. So it is ideal to take one if you feel necessary. A few drivers haven't. I think Game for Life is having connection issues. Let's look at the penalty situation while we have got this on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 drivers, so half the starting field, but over half the field remaining on this. And with penalties, Graham on PS down to 6 seconds, having served his 5 second in the pits. With these penalties, if you get a 5 second penalty, for example, for a collision or something like that, then you can serve those in the your pit stop, but you don't serve your 3 second time penalties for corner cutting. They will get added on to your race time at the end of the race. So I think we've got one more lap of the safety car. Yeah, we have. Where once again Matt Chandler will turn into our de facto safety car, see if he can pull out a lead like he did last time, but I'm not sure about that. Hopefully Game for Life. Let's see, he's not disconnected, so he is oh, okay, I really think Game for Life needs to go into the pits and retire, because he seems to be having problems with his connection issues, and it's going to be really screwing up a lot of other drivers through this. So we are coming through to as you can see, the penalties racking up now for these 5 second collisions, with Game for Life literally driving through the cars. So you can see he's once again left the session, and we'll be getting a drive-through penalty for ignoring flags, presuming he's having connection issues, and there's not much you can do about it. You just have to front it, but it's unfair on the other drivers who now are receiving additional penalties because of his driving. So I'm sure those will get recorded incidents and hopefully removed at the end post-race. So we've now got the safety car coming in, and Matt Chandler once again will become the de facto safety car as we get restarted here for round 3 of the Canadian Grand Prix. Again, taking a very similar tactic to last time. Literally like a formation lap, and off Matt goes. He puts the pedal to the metal once again. Let's have a look on his outside. Furkan staying with him. Biggest gap currently between 5th and 6th in Bajaba and Andre. As we get racing here again. Excuse me. See the penalties racking up, a 5 second collision between Brian and Graham. We're currently on lap 13 of 35 here. So we see Matt Chandler really pushing to try and get that second lead over Furkan. Furkan driving really well today, keeping up with our second place our second place driver in the league. More than likely to stay first. He will do if he wins this race, just by the fact he's got a 3-point disadvantage to Noelad, and even if Noelad came second he would lose it. As we see, was that Game for Life and Martin? No, it wasn't. It was the McLaren and Ryan. Got battles between McLaren and AlphaTauri today, but JSC getting around to the outside of Ryan for third position. Furkan still doing well to stay with Matt. We've got one more lap until DRS will be activated. Only 4 tenths behind him now. Let's get on board with him and see what his view's like from the cockpit. Good line there through turns 2 and 3. Lucifer getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And really sticking with him. JSC not having an answer to this. Ryan is now falling back off of JSC as well. Will he be within DRS range next lap? I doubt it. So we've got Andre catching up on his Haas teammate Bajaba, who's substituting in for Gal 5504. Will they be playing some form of team tactics here? Hopefully Bajaba, who isn't a regular in the league, will he be willing to let his team driver number 1 Andre take the position to help with his battle for the championship. Currently joint second with Matt, who is in first place right now. So we've got Andre opening up his DRS and making the move quite simply on Bajaba there. Great pass there on the outside down the straight. So DRS has now been enabled, and Furkan is currently 9 tenths of a second. So Matt really putting out the stops there for to try and break the DRS train, and I think he has done. We will see. It's going to be close. It is going to be so close, but I think he has done enough to break the DRS train now. So we've got JSC Brito. He's doing well. He's catching up with Furkan. Obviously he's had clean air and is on just as old mediums. We've got Ryan is starting to fall back. I think he is starting to feel it on these 13 lap old mediums and will be coming to pits soon. I'm imagining we'll switch to the harder compound to try and get him to the end of the race. We'll see how that goes. It's getting only, wow, we've got only 4 drivers on the entire grid who do not have grid penalties. As I suspected, as I said during qualifying, I thought we were going to get quite a lot of penalties, and I have been proven right. So Game for Life has now retired from the session, so there will be no more lagging from him. Fortunately, we have got a lot of 5-second penalties there because of the instances caused by Game for Life lagging and driving through other cars, colliding with them. So won't be seeing any more of that, hopefully. It is just a yellow flag. There is not going to be a virtual safety car or safety car. So watching now, let's have a look at the battle for 4th position. Andre doing great there to catch up Ryan, who is running on much older medium tyres, on joint 2nd place runner in the league. Let's see how he's able to do, and if he can make this overtake happen during this DRS range, or potentially the last one down the sector 3 and home straight. Which is the thing, it's so vitally important to make sure you're within that second for this, because you then get a DRS and DRS tow for the entire lap, for the entire last sector. So you can see now Andre, ERS wide open, DRS wide open, getting ready to go for the overtake down the inside, and yep, he makes a move happen. Sorry about that, guys, my cameras went to pots there, but yep, we've got Ryan right on the back trying to get some slipstream from Andre. Is keeping up. Andre locks up a bit into turn 1, but nothing too untoward, and he makes the move stick. JSC now falling a bit behind, and Furkan has regained DRS ability. We're now within 1 second of Matt Chandler. This could be interesting as Matt takes a bit of dirt off of turn 5. Sorry, turn 7. As we go into turns 8 and 9. Gonna stay on board for this battle. I think it's going to be quite interesting coming down to the start finish line for lap 18. Let's see how this goes. DRS and ERS wide open. We have got a yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2. We've got a slow Red Bull in Ekamuga, but he's now back up to speed, refocusing on this battle. Not quite close enough, but a good line there out of the final chicane. DRS open. Is he going to make the move? I don't think so. I don't think he's close enough into turn 1, but he will live to fight another day, just 3 tenths behind him. So we've now got Bajava catching up on Ryan as well. Both are on 16 lap old medium tyres. So Bajava really driving Aero Socks today, reserving for the Haas team and doing a great job for them in their bid to stay constructors leaders. We've already got Andre has pulled out a 2-second gap onto Ryan. Seeing a bit of debris on the track there, but nothing that's not going to fly off. As Ryan loses it coming into turn 5. That is, and not only that, he gets a 3-second penalty for corner cutting, having gone off the track. So that takes Noel up to 6th. Ryan will be forced to pit. I think he was going to have to soon anyway, but it's going to be a long slide back to the pits for him. So that promotes Noel Adler, championship leader, up into 6th position. 5 seconds behind Bijabo. Let's see if he's able to close that. So I want to go back to the battle for first as we come down the back straight onto the home straight. Matt Chandler, oh, picking up a 3-second time penalty there for corner cutting. This could play right into the hands of Furkan now. Furkan can keep it clean for the next 16 laps, but yeah, if he can keep it clean and keep within 3 seconds, and Matt has got his work cut out for him now. And I know psychologically when you get that first penalty, you think, shit, I've got to catch that up now. To add to Ryan's misfortune, he's got on a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, as JFC also pits onto a fresh set of hard tyres. We've got him and Ryan in the pits, drivers moving up, because Gresco up into 7th. Gresco having started towards the back of the grid, if I remember correctly, or falling to the back of the grid. Let's have a look. Where did he start? The Greco starting in 14th position up to 7th. Peggy 13th up to 6th. And Noxlar, who was unable to set a qualifying lap, is up into 8th position. But will penalties be affecting them? Let's have a look. Oh, that was brilliant defending there by Matt, not giving Furkan any space, as he now picks up a 3-second penalty. So this is a squared fight once again. So we've got Matt and we've got Furkan, both of whom standing on 3-second penalties and just half a second separating them. But that was brilliant defending there by Matt. I'm not sure if where Furkan thought he was going to put his car on the outside, but brilliant defending there by Matt Chandler, making it very difficult there for Furkan to pass, but doing it legally. So I'm wondering where he hit the wall. Has Furkan got wing damage? Let's have a look. Can't see, unfortunately. Okay, it's only giving me the 2 camera angles, so I'm not going to be able to see from there, but it does look like Furkan's starting to drop back off of Matt. So I think all of these drivers at the front are going to have to pit again, and we don't have, let's have a look. Yeah, I think everyone in the top 6 will have to pit again. Jarbo obviously does not have enough to get pole, get up to first. I think a pit stop around this track is about 25 seconds, so but that could potentially put him into third once all the pit stops are done. However, he will be running much older mediums, and I imagine some of these drivers will be hoping they can keep these tyres long enough to go onto the softs. Actually, I imagine all of them will be. So let's see how this pans out. King Luckman currently in 10th on 7 laps softs, so he might be a good indicator of how long these softs can go for those drivers around him. Trying to challenge Knox as he runs a bit wide but doesn't get a corner cut there. Sensible driving there by King Luckman. He might have lost half a second, but it's better than a 3-second penalty. So right, let's have a look again. I'm looking for some battles on the track, and this is actually our closest battle. for 9th position between Noxa on the 11 lap old hards compared to King Luckman, who is on 8 lap old softs. At this point you have to wonder whose tyres are going to be better, because Noxa, while slower tyres, will not be degrading anywhere near as much as the softs. Softs sometimes going 6-7% in a lap on these tyres, so King Luckman will have to be really together to hold it as we come through to out the chicane. I think, yeah, King Luckman is pushing the limits of these tyres. I don't think it's going to be long before we see King Luckman pitting. As Noxa runs wide through the hairpin, but King Luckman was unable to make a move on it. However, he's only half a second behind. He's got DRS on Noxa. Is he going to be able to make the move? Goes down the inside. And he gets the move done. It looks like Noxa did have to give space there. He did have to give space there to allow the move to take place. Ran a bit deep and then had to brake to come into the last part of the chicane. Let's see how long King Luckman can make these soft tyres last. And no, I don't see much basis for trying to make them last much longer as Noxa pick up a 3-second penalty for corner cutting, because we've got 13 laps to go. The mediums are proven that they're going to last that long, and Luckman seems to be struggling. He's getting on the curbs a lot, and he is spinning out of them. He's going to really start to struggle on these tyres and need to pit soon. We've got an AlphaTauri Martin 69 that is into the wall. He's currently running on the harder compound, and I would be very surprised if he's not taking wing damage there. It's like, oh yeah, he's missing most of the right side of his rear wing. So, and scratch that, he will retire. A great start from him as well, all the way up to 2nd position, but now we have got a virtual safety car in place, and Martin 69 is out of this Grand Prix. So do we have any drivers in the pits? We currently have a Renault in the pit in Nolad. Yep, Nolad is in the pits, changing onto the soft tyres. This will be a gamble. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Noah is able to deal with these, able to manage these tyres coming into the last. We've still got 12 laps, 13 laps of this race to go, so that is a very long stint on the soft tyres. See if he's able to make it manage it. We're still under virtual safety car conditions, but I'm sure, and we are now back to racing. Ekram, you got his race going from bad to worse, has received a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. We've got Lucifer Shah. Wow, the penalties are racking up. We've got Ryan on 14 seconds. We've got Lucifer Shahid on 18. 11 seconds for Noxa, 14 for Graham, 13 for Brian. Penalties could play a huge impact here. I mean, just looking at Nolat, who's a second behind Ryan, and 11 seconds of penalties difference. And JFC up in 7th, who's only 13 seconds behind, has got 9 seconds of penalties. So we'll see how he progresses, but again, like I said, he's got to make these soft tyres last to the end, so it's not going to be an easy feat. Let's have a look. We've got a bit of a battle going on here for 5th between Jabo, JFC, Brito and Greco. Only a second separating the 3 of them. Greco thought he was going to try and make a move, but thinks better of it, and loses a bit of time through turns 1 and 2 as well, down 7/10 of a second on JSC, where he was just a couple of tenths behind him. And Lucifer Shahid getting past King Luckman, but King Luckman holding off with, oh no, I think he was the driver behind because he had the DRS. So King Luckman getting the move done on Lucifer Shahid, who is currently on 10 lap old hard tyres. King Luckman opting with the medium tyres and Noxa to see him through to the end of the race. I think that's a smart decision. We've got Burkan, who's also pitted onto a fresh set of mediums. I'm sure Andre and Matt will be looking to get off of these tyres shortly. They're currently 14 and 15 laps in on them. I don't see them going to the end of the race. You don't know, but I think they will be looking to pit again. But I think they're looking to hold out for the soft tyres. Let's see how that works for them. Currently Furkan just 18 seconds behind Matt, so I think as it stands right now he is the de facto leader based on that time, because 18 seconds seems a little bit shy for a pit stop. Let's see how that works out. He will need to get a pedal to the metal node just once these guys go on, if they do decide to go onto soft tyres, are going to be considerably quicker with fresher, soft and softer tyres. Let's see how that works out for him as we go into the last 10 laps of this race. So currently I think I'm waiting on, Lucifer, who seems to be in a bit of a battle as well. Yep, Greco coming out, who's going to have 10th position here. It's close, but I think Greco's got it. Yep, Greco has got 10th place from with Lucifer staying down in 11th. King Luckman up into 9th on 2 lap old medians. But Greco in the Ferrari, he has been showing quite good pace and overtaking Kraft through this race. So let's see if he can catch up and make the move on King Luckman. May not have to with a penalty situation. Nope, he's 3 seconds left on penalties and with a 2.7 second gap. So technically is in third, as we see Bijabo with DRS getting past Pergi for 4th position, which is an actual 4th position even with penalties included, not a de facto. Pergi using up all of his DRS to try and keep in touch with Bijabo in the Haas. A great showing here from the Haas drivers, 2nd and 4th. This is definitely, they're able to hold these positions, cement their place in the constructors. Still got Matt very comfortably our de facto championship leader, I guess you could call him, comfortably 12 seconds ahead of Andre in the Williams. Great driving there by Matt, very sturdy, clean driving, a very solid race so far. See if he's able to keep it up for the remainder of it. So let's go back to the battle for 5th and 6th between Pergi and Brito. Pergi really seeming to be struggling on these tyres. What is he running? He's definitely running the Hods. Is he 17 laps into the hard compound? I can see why he's struggling. JFC on his 7 lap fresh, making easy work of Pergi out of turns 8 and 9. So King Luckman picking up another penalty, which does give Greco even more room to breathe. 3 seconds behind, but with 6 seconds more penalties, King Luckman's going to have to get a step on. So we've got Lucifer Shard right on the back of Greco, doing really well to keep up with him actually on 12 up olds hard tyres and still within DRS range. So we've got Pergi, who's taken a 3 second. I think we'll be seeing him pit. So Matt has pitted. Matt Chandler has pitted from 1st. He's down to 3rd. He's only by 4.5 seconds behind Andre. He's going to want to watch out for penalties. Let's see how the penalty situation there, also on 3 seconds, so we'll keep on track of that for the remainder of the race. But this is going to be interesting coming to the last few laps. I think Andre will need to pit again. These mediums, I don't see them lasting 25 laps. We see Pergi on the hards already struggling on 18 laps, as we see Andre in far view pitting. I think he's gonna drop to 4th potentially. Actually, I'd go as far to say he's gonna drop to 6th, but he will be changing, I'm sure, onto the soft tyres. Yep. So let's see where Andre comes out as he's released from his garage with the Haas. Hey Harvey, how you doing, mate? Thanks for tuning in for the end stages of this Canadian Grand Prix. We've got Andre. Oh, I thought he was going to cross the line there, but no, Andre holds on to 3rd. So this is a very short pit stop, about 18 seconds for a pit stop here at Canada. I knew it was short, I didn't think it was quite that short. So Andre in 3rd, Bijabo 4th on older mediums. I think he's going to struggle to keep up with Andre. Let's see how the drivers do. Can see now every single driver remaining on this track has a penalty. So penalties are definitely going to be a factor in who is going to be placed where at the end of the race. Just looking at what battles we've got. The battle for 1st hotting up between Furkan and Matt. Matt on the fresher softs, Furkan on older mediums. I think it's going to be a case of when, not if, that Matt gets past Furkan. Furkan with very little EOS left, just 19% as we saw, compared to Matt's 40. And is within DRS range. Like I said, I think it's a matter of time once Matt gets this lead back for the race. we'll stay on board with this one for a little while. I can see a battle heating up for 7th between our current championship leader Noah Ladd and Ryan Miss. So I think switch over to that one in just a moment. I do see Matt making the move down this straight. A great line there through this hairpin. He's going to have DRS any moment now. Trying to get the toe as well from Furkan. These guys really being in the class of their own today with their driving. As we see Matt, no difficulty there. Great defensive posture there as well to stop Furkan from coming back at him. And yeah, he's made that move stick. So it looks like there's been a bit of an... We've got Bajabo literally with Brito right on his back. Brito doing really well, having caught up here. He is out of VRS. He does have DRS, but on older hard tyres, Bajabo on fresher mediums. We'll see how the two battle this out. Oops, sorry. As Jabo moves to the inside, great line there, holding it. Will JFC be able to come back? Nope, as he gets a little bit of wheel spin out of turn 3 there. Okay, so I want to focus on the battle for 7th currently between Ryan and Noah Ladd. Noah Ladd on the fresh soft tyres. I do believe, if I remember correctly, I think Noel has to make these last 7 laps on, so they're not that fresh. He could be, I think he's going to struggle with these tyres. With 5 laps to go, I guess we will see. I'm going to move back to the battle for 4th though, because JFC is still within the RS range of Bajabo, who is on the fresher mediums. Pilgrim, it looks like he is looking to run it to the end of the race. Sorry, Pergy is looking to run it to the end of the race. There's 4 laps to go, 21 laps on the hard tyres. A great effort there, but is he putting himself at risk by the faster cars? As we see AFC around the outside, he's going to have to make it work. There is a collision there between the two, and JSC and Bajabo contact. Bajabo spinning out of turn, out of the last hairpin. Well, hey Baruch, nice to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Bajabo down to 8th place here, and there is definitely going to be a wing change there. A great race there by Bajabo, but I think that's race over for him. He's going to need to pit with 4 laps to go, because there will have been wing damage there. And let's have a look. He might have been lucky enough to escape without it, but having dropped from 4th down to 9th, that was unfortunate there for Bajabo. I definitely think there's going to be a steward inquiry there with regards to the line that JFC took. We will see, but that was very aggressive overtake there from JFC in my personal opinion. So let's look at the other battles. No, still staying with Ryan, but needing to manage these soft tyres. They are, I believe, 9 laps old now. 8 laps old compared to Ryan's 12s. In theory, Ryan's should have less wear on them. And I imagine the only reason Noel is able to keep up with Ryan at the moment in the AlphaTauri is because of the DRS. He is completely out of DRS, so can't use that to effect. Obviously it does keep recharging, but he's still going to be low. Might want to try holding off until the last lap where he's got a decent amount. Right, we've got a decent battle still on for first though. Matt Chandler and Furkan, as they come up to overlaps, they're looking to overlap at Kreniger in the Red Bull. So overlappers could play a role here in deciding who's going to win this race. Are they both still on 3-second penalties? Yes, they are. And looking at this, so we've got a 8-second gap between Pergy and JFC, but only 6 seconds of penalties difference. So Pergy really only needs to catch up 2 seconds to JFC, and he should be in place there. So just seeing Greco has passed Bajabo, who has got Lucifer Shard as well right on their tail. All 3 locking up into the hairpin. Greco running really wide and losing 2 places. Bajabo getting 9th back, and Lucifer making the most of Greco's mistake, taking 10th. This is going to be interesting. Let's see how these guys battle it out. Bit of contact there. Oh, that was, wow, that was interesting there to say the least. So we got Hamza rooting for Chandler. Chandler has got his work cut out for him in the last 2 laps. We've got a very fast Furkan battling with him. Thinks better of it this time. Sensible racing there by our race leaders there. Good defensive position from Chandler, and Furkan not going too crazy with the dive bomb. Something we've seen maybe a little bit too much of this race. But coming into the penultimate lap of the race, just half a second separating our 2 leaders. This is going to be a battle. Coming through sector 1, and Matt Chandler just edging it a bit quicker. We have got a yellow flag sector 2 and 3 between either, I'm presuming that's the Alfa Romeo of Noxa. Looking at tyres, yeah, Matt Chandler will be managing these soft tyres now. I know lad doing very well, having made his softs last 11 laps. So let's see, we've got 2 laps to go, 3 DRS zones. What will Furkan be able to make of this? Is he going to have enough in the barrel to make the move? As we go into the final lap of the race, just half a second separating, and Noel makes the move on Ryan. Gets 6th position there from Ryan. Will penalties play a part here? 6 well, he had it anyway on the penalty factor, but now just 2 seconds behind Purgy. Will he be able to close the gap? Let's get back to the battle for first though. Just 2/10 of a second separating first and second. As Furkan gets a little bit off of the accelerator, isn't able to hold a good line there through turn 6. Down to half a second now. It's going to be interesting to see, will Furkan just settle for second now? He's 7/10 down with just 1 straight to go. I think Matt has done enough to secure the win here. As we come up to Gray and Son in the Racing Point, who they're about to overlap. Yellow flag in sector 3. There's a what looks like a Ferrari that has spun out at the hairpin. I'm going to stay on this battle Novo because this is for the race win. Matt out of the last corner, and we have got Matt Chandler taking the win here at Canada ahead of Furkan. Just 3/10 of a second separating the 2 of them. I want to look at the battle now. We've got several battles going on here in the lower field. Nolad 8/10 of a second behind Purgy, has gained 1.2 seconds in the last lap. Let's see, is there an opportunity here for him? Gonna ride on board with him. I think it might be too late. He's not got any ERS unless Purgy makes a mistake. I imagine Purgy is going to get this, and I think JFC is going to come home safe in 4th. Yeah, very aggressive there from Nolad, but he's got speed, he's got gaining on him. This is going to be close. And just 0.05 of a second separating Nolad and Purgy there. Wow. I think he knew he had another misdemeanor to play there with, so he went for it. And that led to an amazing conclusion for the race for our host Purgy, who increases his points tally, having gained 12 points in this race, up to 13, and Nolad 10 points. Knocks across in line now, but Java taking the last points position, and then we've got, and that is our race finished. The One King, I'm not sure who you are, but thank you so much for your comment. I really enjoyed commentating here on round 3 of the Delta Pace Racing Division 2 League, and I hope you've all enjoyed the commentary. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. As we can see, our driver of the day is King Luckman for his gaining of positions. He was making some incredible moves, and I think started in 17th all the way up to started in 19th. So yeah, he was one of the drivers who was unable to, who had a quali ban, so he didn't actually start qualifying. So up from 19th to 8th, a very respectable there. We've got And our fastest lap is not a top 10 driver. It was Game for Life, no surprise because he was lagging quite a bit. But yeah, so there won't be any additional points for fastest lap, but well done there. Rounding down our top 10 now, Matt Chandler taking first from Furkan, just 3/10 of a second behind him. Andre taking the last podium position in the Haas, with JFC in 4th in the McLaren. Pergi in the Ferrari in 5th, great mover from 13th up to 5th. Noelad in 6th, Ryan Misanji in 7th, King Luckman 8th, Bijabo in 9th. So unfortunate there, reserving, last minute step in, could have been so much better off challenging for 4th throughout the race, and then Noxa rounding off the points in 10th position. So well done there to all the racers. Hope you've enjoyed the commentary in the race, and this is Pete W signing out. Have a great night, guys. Take care.